when you are doing marketing on day-to-day life, you feel more like a soldier, like in the trenches. Then when you're studying, you're becoming a like general, trying to see the strategy behind everything you're doing.
Who doesn't want to be fabulous, especially in mobile growth? Welcome to Mobile Heroes Uncensored. My name is John Gutsier. My co-host, of course, is Peggy Ann Saltz, and Peggy is already fabulous. I'm still struggling. Give me some time. But today we're interviewing the top user acquisition specialist at a super successful lifestyle app. It's been featured by Apple as an editor's choice. It's got a 4.6 star rating. It's one of the top apps in the super competitive health and fitness category, and it was incubated in Dan Ariely's, remember, Predictably Irrational, behavioral economics lab at Duke University. It's advised in growth by Eric Souffert, and it's got a UA lead who's planning to climb Everest. Peggy, who are we talking to?
Well, John, we have Natalie Drozd. She is user acquisition lead at Fabulous, which is fabulous. It's an app, as you said, built by behavior change experts to transform your life. Now, that might sound like a tall order, but I think she's up for it because she puts it on her LinkedIn profile that, quote unquote, the more difficult something is, the more interesting and the more motivated she is to take it on. She has deep expertise in ASO. We'll be hearing about that. Growing apps, of course, through organic and paid marketing. And she has experience as a marketing manager at a dating app. Before that, she was a creative director. And before that, she's just been in mobile. She loves it. She also loves hiking. And her number one goal, you hinted at it, is to make the trek up Mount Everest when Ukraine wins the Russia-Ukraine war. Welcome, Natalie.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for such a lovely introduction and so many kind words about fabulous. Because, in fact, it is fabulous. Like, I love and hate this joke, but it's so true.
Let's start here. You were featured by Apple as an editor's choice app. How'd that happen, and what impact did that have?
Honestly, it has been happening pretty often, and we were App of the Day back, if I'm not mistaken, 2018. Right now, it's way less featuring happening, but usually when you become App of the Day or if you are featured as editor's choice, it actually helps you to get more traffic. However, I don't think that's something we should be setting as the main point of organic growth. Why? Because it's super unpredictable and there is no rules. You can do everything right. You can make everything happen from your side, fill in all the beautiful visuals, write a great story. But for example, if this month they decide to focus more on utilities apps or apps that have founders with cooler stories than yours, that even with great application, it doesn't help to grow your app. I always treat featurings and editor's choice status as nice to have, but not obligatory. It's something that helps you to gain additional confidence and trust because it's still like a recognition from Apple, which is the most expensive brand in the world. However, let's be honest, you can have an excellent app and not be featured. You can have a shitty app with good monetization and be featured. So it's not something that is the only thing that I would be boastful about. It's more nice to have. Thank you for that. But let me concentrate on other things, user experience and profitable paid user acquisition than that. Going into more details, like as soon as you are featured once, then it gets a little bit easier to appear in the collections more often. So it's like this story from 0 to 1, which is the hardest to make. How to make it happen? It's basically creating a good product, asking and trying again and again and again and again, and again one more time. And 3, like ideal way, like this is basically from like 2015 or something. Try to know people, ask them on LinkedIn, like, hey, are you working at Apple? I have such a cool application. Can you do something to help me? But well, right now with more and more applications on both Play Store and App Store, it's getting harder and harder to actually find somebody who will help to promote your app from the inside. And from my personal experience and from experience of my friends, people from Play Store editorial and App Store editorial are super conservative. Even when they work for those teams, they will not actually disclose, especially at big conferences. Otherwise, they will be just bombarded by people, messages, and asking like, can you do this? Can you help there? There was one like gossip story that one app was featured just because it was like one of the people was working in Apple and his girlfriend had an application to make a birthday for the application. The app became an editor's choice in one of the European countries. Other offices also picked the trend up. So there was actually a huge boost in organics across different European markets. I'm not dating anyone in Apple nor in Google. So, I mean, it doesn't make my career easier, at least like this way is not here. But I'm trying to create great product, promote it as much as I can, and being stubbornly repetitive and trying to like promote things I believe in, because this is something that make me like actually work and love my work at Fabulous.
You are driven. Absolutely. I hear that. Do it again and again, do it another time. How do you stay fresh in marketing? Because you're also fresh from some courses over at Reforge, picking up some learnings over there. What was the most valuable experience you got there?
What I love in digital marketing itself is it's changing all the time. Like the learnings you had 1 year ago may not be applicable right now. Like we all right now are living through, like we're waiting for Apple's conferences just to hear what next big thing or terrible present for us they're going to give, like IDFA. Or like this year, I'm actually getting more excited about changes to scan, which again, you have to be always on spot. So cool thing about courses like Reforge ones is the one that they help you to structure everything you already know, gain additional 5% of things you didn't know before, and to have a clearer view. Like when you are doing marketing on day-to-day life, you feel more like a soldier, like in the trenches. Then when you're studying, you're becoming a like general, trying to see the strategy behind everything you're doing. Or like the other metaphor is like switching gears, like when you're on a car. When you are already doing user acquisition, you are on the like highest speed. Like if you drive mechanics, not automotive, that like you have to switch to first, then to third, then to second, and you have the park it mode. But the good thing about learning is it helps you to see different perspectives. And I cannot say, it's completely useful if you don't do it in practice. I know so many people who took like Facebook courses, like the Blueprint Academy, but have never ever launched any single campaign. And it's useless because if you don't have this experience of starting a campaign, messing things up, fixing things again, you will not understand how your coworkers are doing, how the other people, your colleagues, having this feeling. How to stay fresh, you have to love what you do. Like one quote, which is cheesy, like do what you love and you don't have to work a single day, which kind of makes sense, but it doesn't mean that your job or life won't be stressful, because it is, even when you're doing what you love. Like you cannot run without sweating. You cannot climb a mountain without getting tired. And the same with work. Like I love what I'm doing generally as a digital marketing, because for me, it's a perfect combination of creativity and analytics. This is something I love, but still sometimes you have wrong attribution settings. Sometimes you have wrong campaign settings and everything is messed up. Then you have some problems with creatives. Then you have something else. But in the long term, it all pays off so much because you learn, you have fun. And on the other hand, you also can help other people to avoid mistakes you have done in the past.
I love it. Mobile growth as war, mobile growth as maybe Formula One. Lots of metaphors to go there. Absolutely. Don't know if you're Max Verstappen or Charles Leclerc, but maybe. Hey, that's awesome. So you're in a tough category, right? You're a wellness app. You're in fitness and health and all that stuff. There is so much competition there. I mean, obviously there's tons of competition in gaming.
Of course.
Perhaps even more, but there's so much competition in health, fitness, wellness. What do you do to succeed in that category?
I have an easy answer and a hard answer. First of all, I do believe that health and fitness is a little bit harder than gaming because, first of all, gaming itself is a very, very broad category. This is why you have subcategories, different for
Yes.
shootings, ratings, and like everything. And a gaming, like sometimes, well, it's a broad category. When it comes to health and fitness, it's also a broad one, but it has basically the same goal or the same problem that it is striking, like make people feel better. This is why we have well-being as a category or the name. I'm saying all of this because a lot of applications, they are created by a collection of, for example, exercises. The other part is collection of meditations. And this is why we have more and more applications appearing in the category, because it seems from the outside that it's so easy. Well, you have a list of exercises, you have your users, and you categorize them like, voila. It's not that easy. There are a lot of applications who do exactly what I just told. So it's not enough because that doesn't help you to stand out. Being in the health and fitness niche for us is hard. Why? Because we are not fitness application. Like, of course, that part of the content is exercises. On the other hand, Fabulous is not a meditation application. There are meditation tracks, but it's not the purpose of the application. We help people be comfortable with themselves. This is why we call the Everest like a personal coach. This is gentle coaching that helps you to improve your life one step at a time. So we are kind of one in a kind. If you use the application, it creates a to-do list. Again, so you may think, oh, that you're a to-do list, but we're not, because it's about routines that you repeat every single day. It's about unique content, which is written by certified people who have knowledge in psychology and which is supervised by one of my favorite people in the world, Jasmine Kill, who was working at Stanford. So all the content is scientifically proven and scientific based. And this all makes Fabulous different from Calm and Headspace, which are meditation first, from Fitness AI, Better Me, from the fitness part of the things. So it's easier to be different. But it's also harder to market it because when you have a fitness application, get in shape 5 minutes a day, prepare your create your summer body or something like this. On the other hand, when you're a meditation application, learn how to relax in 5 minutes. When you are building routines, you have to be inventive in the way you advertise your product. And honestly, there's all the kudos to our creative team who are super creative, in a good way, by figuring out different ways how to bring this value to people. And again, I am just doing the job in the accounts, and they are making tremendous amount of creative thinking, brainstorming, and validating concepts. We did this together.
Yeah, as I mentioned off the top, Fabulous came out of the incubator sort of with Dan Ariely at Duke University. What has that done? How has maybe some of his thinking informed what you do?
To be completely honest, right now, we apply all those learnings, but Dan Ariely is not actively involved in application day-to-day life. So, I wish it was, because actually Dan Ariely is one of the reasons why I joined the Fabulous team, because I'm such a huge fan of his books and behavioral science in general. Not only Dan Ariely, but also Daniel Kahneman and Thinking Fast and Slow. But getting back to your question, the application was created in the Duke University under his supervision to apply the main principles of behavioral economy into human life. Humans are super unpredictable, but still the point is you can predict some of those things. For example, there is an ostrich effect. What it means that somebody knows they have to do something. For example, wash the dishes or pay the bills on time. People procrastinate over that, and when they actually want to do the thing, they are afraid because they already failed, because the deadline is over. So people try to find ostriches from their problems, even though ostriches
hide your head in the sand.
In fact, they don't do it. Just in case, by doing this strange thing with their heads, they are turning eggs in the sand, so the egg has equal amount of sun. But the point is, the application uses this principle. So when the person, for example, wasn't active for more than 7 days, when they go back to the application, it's not the same person as if it was an active user. That's why there is a different flow for resurrected users, asking them to go embark on the journey again, check their priorities. And the whole application was created with two main things. One, scientifically proven, so no bullshit. And two, huge love to customers. So one thing, we almost never, basically never use the word user, because we don't want people to use us and we don't want to use people.
Love it.
We call everyone member, because Fabulous is a community. So for example, like I'm a UA lead, but I call my department member acquisition, and we have member care department, because that's not a unit you see on Tableau or anywhere else. It's a person who uses the application to improve their lives. The other part, this is why we have scientifically proven content, a huge love why we are doing that. One other thing that I love about Fabulous itself, we have user interviews with people whose lives were actually changed. And believe me, this is such a powerful motivation when you see a real person who just downloaded the application and it helped them, for example, to lose weight, to run their first marathon, to pick up a new hobby and learn how to play the violin, for example. And it feels like something that I'm doing actually makes sense, not only to me, but also to so many people. And it's important for everyone, but for marketing peculiarly, because this is what I'm doing. I'm attracting new people. And it's so easy to say, hey, this application is great, when I believe this application, in fact, is great, because I'm also a Fabulous active member. This is something I use like 2 or 3 times a day, which makes me feel good as well. I know the product, I know how to market it, and I know how it can help people and whom it cannot help as well, because you need to know your target audience and you need to know who is not your target audience.
Still love that you're calling them members, I have to say. That's a mindset change, really welcome among marketers as well. And another mindset change is thinking about things more holistically. That's happening a lot more. And you yourself, we met up in Berlin and you were talking about this and got me focused on it. You know, why does it have to be paid and organic? Where are the synergies between them? So that's your mission, to find them. Can you share a few that you found so far, Natalie?
I like to think as a person who wants to download the app, how most courses teach us. You show an ad, person clicks on the app, downloads the application, pays for a free trial or subscription or buy something, and voila, everyone is happy. Reality is very different, because I might have seen it yesterday, but I don't care about the product, but I learn about it. 2 weeks from now, I start preparing for half marathon. And then I remind, oh my God, yeah, there was such an application that helped me to do this. And that's why, again, there is a high competition. Other companies also are fighting for attention for every person on the earth. This is why it's so important to keep in mind that the advertisement you did 2 weeks ago may still be relevant for you today. The brand activities 1 year ago or some influencer campaigns, they are long lasting. The most important part is to see the full picture. And this is a very hard part, especially in the post-IDFA world, where you cannot actually understand which of many channels you're using does additional value and which is not. To create a holistic picture, it is synergy not between ASO and paid. No, never. It's combination between product, analytics, and marketing as a whole. You need to have analytics because those people are experts on data. You are expert on tools. For example, I know this marketing campaign went live there in that country with this exposure. Then somebody else can make sense of the numbers you are providing. And the product team may also give additional insights. Because, for example, if you were advertising one feature and people are using something else, then maybe you can start advertising a different feature as well. So I do not treat paid and organic just because it's super correlated and codependent. However, it's hard to find and say like 5% of paid actually goes to organic. You will never know it, in fact, because it's so hard to reach statistical significance. And well, when it comes to digital marketing, like I have a little statistician inside me which says, you haven't reached 95% confidence level before making this decision. But then I realized, well, the world is not perfect and you still have to make some decisions and bring up new hypotheses. Because if you are, it's so easy to get trapped in the statistical significance problem. I don't know if it makes sense, but this is how I at least try to
I
approach
totally
things.
get it. It's tough.
Sometimes you just have to go with your instinct. That's part of it. That's part of science. It's okay. Looking at the complexity of marketing, we talked about how you can get value, paid and organic, how they work together. But what's the biggest challenge to achieving and sustaining organic growth?
First thing, which I feel is a hard thing, app stores, Google Play and App Store did not become Google. People are not using long tail queries. Like if you go to Google and if you check like what are the different types of queries, you will see there are a lot of questions which are long, beautiful sentences. Not only why the sky is blue, but like I want to buy a specific model of this tablet, or for example, MacBook M1 2022 edition review pricing comparison. And you will find something very specific to this keyword. The thing is, again, when you look at your laptop or your desktop, you have a lot of space to write because you have a huge keyboard. While on app stores, most of queries come from short keywords, and they are super hard to get to. The problem with organic growth that most of those short keywords are already occupied by long-lasting brands. For example, like for travel, like TripAdvisor already is not like a super like top-notch application because there are some other apps which are more relevant, but it's still one of, if I'm not mistaken, number one or number two, just because it has been around for such a long time. For example, for keyword travel, like maybe Airbnb or some like Kayak or something else should be more relevant. However, brand awareness of TripAdvisor as an app, as well as its historical value, makes it be top 1 or top 3. The other part, no one actually knows how those keyword rankings are made. We should not forget about it. This is one part of things. People search, but people search in a short way, and people use a lot of brands to search for. I do not remember like the research, I cannot refer like directly to it, but at least 40% of all search queries on app stores are branded ones. Therefore, it's super hard to get ranked for them. First of all, because you either have to pay ASA to hijack the top position. On Google, you have to run UGC campaigns, but for branded queries, they don't do the primer placements. On the other hand, there are a lot of black hat or gray hat activities for which you can get punished, like the smallest thing, release rejection, the hardest things, your application goes away from the App Store. Therefore, you're already losing 40% of the whole market, like until you have huge marketing budget. It's getting harder and harder for indie developers without a lot of money in the bank to find users organically for two reasons. Why? One, there are so many other applications, so competition goes up. And like, again, now the economist in me is saying, you have supply and demand curves. And the higher you have the supply and demand being more or less stable, the higher competition is. Therefore, organic is hard. This, and I've just covered search part, which is the first one. The second one is browse. And you have Google and Apple part. They are kind of different, but both of them try to create community around like applications, developers, sharing stories, creating highlights. And we can be pragmatic. Apple and Google, even though it's not the main criteria, but which is most important, how much money your application is making. And those companies are happy to promote applications with good monetization metrics. And therefore, like if you're an indie developer who is just starting their career, you have to be super innovative to make people pay, to maybe solve such a problem that competition is not solving yet. On the other hand, you have a lot of tools such as in-app events, for example, or creating some other like live ops on Android, in-app events on iOS, testing different types of your product page, so you have higher conversion rate. Experimenting with your description to have more browse traffic. But the point is, again, it's not linear. You can do everything right. You can check all the boxes, but you cannot appear on the main page. Why? Because nobody actually going to tell you what you should do right to appear on the app of the day, on the starting page, on the App Store or Google Play. And still, like, relationships matter. Like, this is why we are seeing like the same applications being there again and again. If you check like the top apps in dating, the top app in traveling, even if there is something top-notch, it's so hard to get there. Getting from 0 to 1 is the hardest part in organic growth.
So you're talking about ASO, and that's perfect because we met at the ASO conference in Berlin where everyone was talking about the futures of ASO. And it was really interesting because the whole idea revolved around the future of where ASO fits in the marketing organization. It's not about keywords, and maybe every department will have someone like you, Natalie. Where do you think ASO fits in the marketing organization?
So I do believe that it's not a good idea to have everyone like me in every organization because I talk a lot and I ask many questions, and it's going to be super hard to have somebody like me. On the other hand, ASO shouldn't be treated as something different from growth in general. And again, depending on organization, you will have different answers to the same question, because what is growth? It is marketing plus product, like very broadly speaking. ASO helps to identify trends, what people are searching for, and why people are downloading your application. On the other hand, it should be definitely closely connected to overall marketing activities. And I don't think like they're going to be a ASO specialist as itself. It's like organic growth discovery person, or as one guy from Pitch told, App Store Connect analytics specialist who can actually make sense of everything which is written down in App Store Connect and Google Play Console, just to navigate very carefully different sources of truth. Something that Google is presenting, something that Apple's presenting for you, what ad accounts are telling you, and what third parties like MMPs and other like tools for app management helps you with. ASO is just one piece of the puzzle which lies in growth team. And growth is something that helps you build good product and advertise it in the right way.
But there's also Black Hat ASO, right? You recently suffered a Black Hat ASO attack, if I'm not mistaken. What happened and how did you turn it around?
So it hasn't happened recently. It was a 3-year ago case for one of the people I worked with. So Black Hat ASO is like drugs or cigarettes. It gives you short-term pleasure, but it makes you addicted in the long run. There are different. It makes you like you need to have a short fix. For example, improve your rating, improve the number of keywords you are ranked for, improve the number of keywords you're getting installs from. However, like, first of all, you can get punished from the app stores for doing those things. And 2, you can fool yourself. Because, for example, brief example, if you're buying reviews and your product team thinks your product is excellent because you have an average rating of 5, when in fact it is 2, but no one knows about it because you're basically silencing all the haters and creating a fake reality. And everyone saying things are good when they are not. Some time ago, one of the applications I worked with was actually a victim of fake reviews attack. We had a good rating, but one of competitors just started bombarding with negative reviews saying how bad the application is, about its drawbacks. It took me approximately 6 months to communicate to Google's team that their reviews were fake, because like they did one big mistake. They started publishing the same exactly reviews twice. Like, it's almost impossible on Earth that somebody writes this exactly same story with same mistakes in punctuations one time in June, the other time in August. So it actually served as a reason for deleting them. What you can do if you're a victim of a spam attack? 1, you can mark those reviews as like not helpful, but if it doesn't help, you can go and ask support, like draw like ways to contact them. It's super bad, but it's like featuring. You have to try again and again and again. And this is basically how I managed to do it. And as I said, it took me half of the year to make believe that I'm not actually joking. So, and yeah.
What a disaster. What a disaster. Wow. Having to deal with that is insane. I mean, I've seen instances of that, review bombing, and it's very, very challenging to turn around. Well, Natalie, this has been amazing. Super pumped to have you. We want to end here. Your top 3 tips for mobile marketers in fitness and health and wellness.
First of all, you have to believe in what you do. Become a member. I will not be afraid of the word a user of your application, not of your product, because it will be so easier for you to advertise it. If you don't run, start running and go and work for Strava. If you like meditation, go and work for some meditation application. It will be way easier if you actually like what you do. Tip number 2, remember about work-life balance. Like, even when you work for the best application in the whole world, if you're burned out, nobody cares about you. So remember a way to say no. When you have a lot of exciting tasks, but you have no time to sleep, you will die in a couple of days. Please don't do it. I mean, like, people will not live without sleep. And tip number 3, good sense of humor. That's somebody that will help you survive all different challenges and mistakes, because life is not easy. We are like, the whole economy is like facing recession, so life is not be easy at all. But if you have good understanding that this is life, it's not easy, but with a smile on the face and some light, good thoughts in your brain, you can survive everything. As a whole, remember, it's just work. You have to live your own life. You have to enjoy it. That's why work for the company you like, do what you love, and you will not have to work any single day.
There you go. You've got the condensed version.
I love it, Peggy. And we didn't even mention it off the top, but Natalie is talking to us from Kyiv in Ukraine right now, where her country is under attack and her countrymen and women are dying daily. And yet she's running a company, running member acquisition and staying positive, which makes me feel awful in some sense, because I live in paradise in comparison. I live near Vancouver, Canada, and sometimes it's hard to stay positive in everything that I do. And I'm sure, Peggy, you can resonate with that as well. Thank you, Natalie, for this time. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you very much for having me. Such a pleasure, first of all, to be here. And again, I'm so blessed that I met Peggy at the conference. World is small. I hope people will find some of my tips interesting. If they don't learn anything, they can laugh at least. And it means that already, like, I did something good.
Excellent.
Thank you, Natalie.
And thank you to all listeners. We really do appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying it. Let us know on social if you are.
And let us know if you want to come and we'll have you on the show. If you're a mobile hero or you know of someone who is, then fill out the interest form over at shorturl.at/JKSKT.
Also, Liftoff has a Slack for mobile heroes and people in the mobile ecosystem. There's a link on the screen, and if you're listening to the podcast, it's at info.liftoff.io/Slack-signup. It's pretty cool. There's smart people there, and you know what? They probably need you too.
And you have probably been completely blown away by all the insights on this show, and you want your transcript, and you can have it because the transcripts are over at Liftoff's website. Go to liftoff.io, click on Heroes, and then click on Podcast.
I actually personally love transcripts because I read way faster than people talk. So that's a great way to get insights really, really quickly. Until next time, this is John Katsir. Thank you so much for joining.
And this is Peggy Ann Saltz signing off for Mobile Heroes Uncensored.